Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Mark and this is the third video of the pre-launch series to my 1000 rep challenge round 2. This one is all going to be about the diet side of things. Now, if you haven't watched my first video, and that one is about my situation right now I'm in, like I'm a father, I'm married, I've got 3 kids, and homeschooling and working from home and all that stuff, and explaining why I'm doing this whole thing, watch video 1. The second video is all about the training side of things. How's this challenge actually broken down? What kind of exercise? What are the modifications? How can you join in? And there's another little add-on I added to it. So make sure you watch that video too. All right, so let's talk about diet. So I'm gonna try to break this down as easy as possible because I don't want you to be counting calories, because it's for most of you as family dads and crazy lifestyle, what's going on out there, not possible. So here's how we're going to do this. As a father, as a family dad, everyone eats at different times. You have breakfast, lunch, dinner, cookies, cakes, whatever in between. Every kid wants something else. So we're going to make this easy for you to follow. And it's easy to follow, but it's hard at the same time, because when everyone else is eating and you're not participating in some of the meals, they're going to be questioning, like, what are you doing? Why are you not eating? So on and so forth. But I'm going to explain this all in this video. So we're going to go down the protocol I'm following, the actual supplements, and what kind of foods we're going to be eating. And trust me, if you do exactly what I'm telling you to do, you're going to get the results, because like I said before, if you don't follow the diet, you can do as much reps as you want, you won't get the results. The diet really is key to follow. So let's go down the route. So first of all, the protocol, what I mean by protocol is intermittent fasting. That basically just tells you when to eat, not what to eat. So it has a fasting window and a feeding window. So feeding means time when you eat, and fasting means time when you don't eat, throughout the 24-hour period in a day. And the most common one is the 16-8, which means 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating. So mostly you fast throughout your sleep, obviously. So you start at a certain time, let's say at 6 o'clock at night, you stop eating, and then 16 hours later you start eating again, and then you've got your 8 hours where you then have, when you're able to eat. Now I'm going to take this to the next level, because this has worked for me. When I say intermittent fasting, there's so much to it. I can't cover all of this in this video, so there might be another video just about intermittent fasting, or throughout my 30 days I will talk about it here and there, so you get a bit of an idea of what it is. But I'm going to actually be doing OMAD, which means 1 meal a day. So I'm going to eat all my calories, everything I need for that one day. When I mean day, I mean 24 hours in 1 meal. And that's how it has worked for me in the past, the best way. And in terms of intermittent fasting, it actually shows you get the best result by doing OMAD instead of 16-8 or 24 or what kind of eating window sort of thing. Now, with OMAD, it's really hard for some people, because you really have to be disciplined in terms of eating before you start having your meal. Note on the side, when I say OMAD, I mean most of the times I will try to stick to the 1 meal a day. Sometimes I will break my fast 2 or 3 hours before by having, let's say, bone broth, which doesn't have too much calories, but gets me a little bit going, okay? Just a side note, because I know sometimes, some days, especially when you start on this whole thing, it's gonna tire you out. Now in terms of supplementation, this one is also important. What I do is I take fish oil, because you want to make sure that your inflammation stays as low as possible, and that's 3 to 5 grams a day, okay, from fish oil. EPA and DHA needs to be on point, especially the omega-3s you need to have in your system, because I know they will decrease, because when I did the 1000 rep challenge last time, I know my shoulder girdles, my joints here started hurting, and by taking fish oil that decreased a lot, and you can prevent it. And also when it comes to the actual food we're going to be eating, make sure that you have a lot of fish you're going to be eating as well, like salmon and stuff like that. But if you don't want to eat fish, fish oil is also something you can take. If you're vegetarian, then there's flaxseed oil and stuff like that, which you can take for omega-3s. I'm going to be taking creatine, and before anyone jumps on me like, oh my god, creatine, whatever, and so on and so forth, watch the video I did about creatine and why creatine is probably the best supplement in the world, and why you should be taking it as an athlete, and so on and so forth. just watch the video. I'll be taking it 3 to 5 grams a day. Vitamin C, especially also because of inflammation purposes. And then sometimes I'm going to be taking a pre-workout just for fun, just to get the body rolling. And I'm going to show you which one I'm going to be taking. But that's just an add-on. Most of the time my pre-workout will be a coffee. Okay, so that's what I've always stuck to. A double espresso or a pretty strong coffee gets you going, because the normal pre-workouts you can buy, all they really have is caffeine inside and a couple of other little supplementations, but most of it is caffeine, which gets you going. And that's why you can also just drink a coffee like from that machine, right? That's what I'm going to be doing. All right, when it comes to food, here's the one thing I'm going to stick to, and this is how you're going to be able to manage to stick to your calorie target in a way. Because let's face it, it's going to be about calories. If you eat too much calories, you can do all the workout you want, and if you don't track your calories, it's very likely that you're going to go over your calorie amount. But if you do exactly what I do, you'll see that it's very hard to eat more calories than you actually should be. So listen up. It's going to be single ingredient foods. And you're like, Mark, is that the secret? And it's as simple as that. It is the secret. Single ingredient foods is, let's say, meat, fish for protein, right? That's a single ingredient, meaning there's nothing added to it. It's not anything packaged up, processed, whatever. So when it comes to carbs, it's going to be potatoes, rice, maybe noodles. Obviously, noodles are processed. Bread is processed. But I'm going to cut down on noodle and bread. I'm going to stick to potatoes and to rice. And when it comes to fats, all the fats are most of the time within the protein side of things, and also in a lot of vegetables you have, let's say in beans, legumes and stuff, you have a lot of fat in there. But I'm going to add maybe some olive oil, stuff like that. With the fat, you have to be a bit careful, obviously, because it has 9 calories per gram. And so piling on of olive oil can obviously throw you out of your target. But with 1 meal a day, so if you do what I mean by 1 meal a day, what you have to focus on is that your protein is, in my case, as big as your whole hand, not just the palm of your hand. The whole hand should fill in your protein. So fish or meat, that's going to be my protein, like a chicken breast or 2 even. Yeah, chicken breast sometimes a bit smaller. And then the same size of hand, is carbs for me as well, like palm to full hand of rice. And then the rest, as much as I can manage, of eating proper vegetables like asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower, any sort of green leafy foods. They're cruciferous foods. They help you with, not retaining too much water and stuff. That's basically the secret. So if you eat exactly like that, you can basically not overeat, because there's no way you're going to be eating a handful or 1.5 hands of protein, 1 hand of rice or potatoes, and then the rest you pile up on vegetables. I want to see you overeat, like on broccoli to I don't know, 4,000 calories. You're going to look like a broccoli if you eat that much, right? So you can really pile up on it. You can eat as much as you want until you're fully satisfied. And that really works. What else I've done is I've weighed myself every time in the morning at the same time, because that will give you good guidance if you're on track. Because what else could happen is, let's say you're not as strict or you're not as good in your meal timing and meal planning. For me, it's not as hard because I've done it my whole life. I know exactly how much rice and protein and stuff I need to eat to gain or lose weight. You might not be in that situation. So that's why this is a little guidance, what I'm giving you here, of how I'm doing it, which might work for you. But what else will really tell you if you're on track is if you weigh yourself every day, because the trend should be going down, meaning you should be in a calorie deficit for the whole challenge to be able to lose weight, obviously. You can also do OMAD and intermittent fasting by gaining weight. You can also add more. You could also, let's say, instead of 1 meal a day, you do 2 meals a day. 2 times that amount of food will probably put me in a calorie surplus, and then I would start gaining weight, okay? So, but I don't want that. I want to lose weight, and I want to, preserve as much muscle mass as I can. That's why, hence I say we eat that much protein, which is an equivalent of 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, roundabout for me. And that's sufficient to keep your muscle mass as best as possible. I will lose muscle, I know all of that, because we had that in the comments and people were, saying, oh my god, the challenge and so on and so forth, but I'm not going to go there. Let's talk about the weighing in the end. So weighing yourself every day obviously will fluctuate. It doesn't mean you step on the scale, let's say you're 100 kilos, next day you're 99, 89, 79, blah, blah, and so on. That's not how it's going to work. So what will happen is you might lose at the beginning because you might have been eating like shit, or like me in the last couple of 4 to 5 weeks in coronavirus times. I was eating chocolate, maybe pizza, maybe this, maybe that. I wasn't really focusing on my diet. So I might have gained a bit of weight, and I'm holding a lot of water because my carb intake is very high. Not that I ate shitty food all the time, but I wasn't really focusing on my diet. So at the beginning, when you start going down that route, you will lose a lot of water weight. So you drop a lot of weight at the beginning, let's say 2 to 3 or 4, or maybe 5 kilos, depending how heavy you are right now. And then it starts stagnating. Then you're like, maybe you even gain a weight a little bit again. You're back to, you gained 1 or 2 kilo again. And you're like, oh my God, it's not working. So what you need to do is you need to stick to this whole thing. And then after a week, it should start dropping anything between 100 to 300 grams a day. And then you make progress every single day until day 30. You shouldn't be losing half to a kilo a day. Then you're definitely under eating, and that's not healthy at all. So if you're doing that, you need to eat more, and you're not allowed to stick to this 1 meal a day thing, right? So that's totally unhealthy, and that's going to put you into mental and other problems. So 100 grams or maybe a 300 gram a day, 300 is already really hardcore. Like 100 grams is, you'll get there. Now, when it comes to losing weight, by tracking it every day, you will see the progress you're making. And if you're gaining weight throughout, 3 to 4 consecutive days, whatever you're eating is too much. So you need to eat a little bit less throughout your OMAD, or you actually, maybe you're eating 2 meals a day, you need to reduce it to 1 meal, or just eat a little bit less so you start losing weight again. So tracking your weight every single day will give you the best indication if you're on track or not. And now when it comes to losing weight, you shouldn't be losing half a kilo or more a day, because that's going to put you in a very unhealthy state very, very fast. So anything between 200 to 300, because it's a challenge and it's quite challenging in a sense of these 30 days are going to be really hardcore. That calorie deficit, 200 to 300 grams a day, is pretty hardcore. Okay, so anything more than that is unhealthy. So if you are losing that much after the first week, because the first week you might have dropped a lot of water weight, then make sure that you eat more. I don't want you to starve yourself, because starving yourself and doing that kind of workout will kill you. Okay, so make sure that you don't lose more than that. If you track your weight after the first week and you keep dropping half to a kilo a day, you definitely need to stop and eat more. Okay, before you follow any of this, I'm not a doctor. I'm not allowed to tell you what to eat and how to eat and what to do. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. Please make sure, because every diet is different. If you want to follow intermittent fasting, please ask your doctor first if that's something you can do, and if it's something he recommends for you in your personal situation, just as a disclaimer. So that's basically it. As simple as that, as it sounds. But it isn't as simple as that, because once we start, this whole thing is going to be really tough, but I'm looking forward to it. So day 1 is coming up very soon. I'm filming it all along. Make sure to follow this. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on day 1. Here we go.